Brew Strong is brought to you by Blickman Engineering, home of the top-tier brewing stand. Visit them online at blickmanengineering.com.
Brewers, it's time for the beer radio you've been looking for. This is the show that dispels myths, tackles the toughest topics, and makes no apologies for geeking out on beer. Hosted by two guys that drink before they think, Jamil Zainashev and John Palmer. This is Brew Strong.
Hey, howdy, hey, my brewing brothers and sisters.
Greetings.
Hello, herds of nerds.
Yeah, here we are at the NHC 2012 in Bellevue, Washington, having a great old time. Seeing all sorts of old friends. I hung out with the Hudacheks the other day. You weren't there, John. I'm disappointed in you. Missing that. Well, when I got here, I ran into the lovely Mr. John Blickman and his crew.
Oh.
He is lovely. Yeah, and as soon as they got here, they're like, "Hey, come out to dinner with us." And so we all went over. They treated me to a wonderful dinner and had a good time. Thank you very much, John.
Oh, you're welcome. You were kind of wandering the halls, looking
lost,
awful, lonely, and lost.
Was that thing where you laid Jamil out naked, and put sushi on him?
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm fully not anticipating that.
For a minute there, I was sorry I missed the dinner.
Right. But, I got to meet more of his crew. He's, the business is doing gangbusters, and he's expanding and, trying to keep up with the rampant demand. And what I was really impressed about everybody that works for Blickman Engineering is, it's a bunch of really nice guys to start with. And, they all seem very creative and exceedingly smart. I think John hires based on he hires like the most brilliant people he can find. It
covers up for my lack of brilliance.
Right. So just to hire some really clever, really smart people.
I need to talk to John about hiring techniques.
Yeah. Well, don't you hire smart people as well, Jamil?
No. I thought about doing it, but I figured, it would expose me for the lack of intelligence that I have.
Oh. Right.
And so I hire based on beard length.
Okay.
So, that's why we hired Beardy. And I got to say, I think it's actually a pretty clever way of going about it. Because look at this. Look at John Meyer at Rogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mitch, facial hair.
Yeah.
Matt Brynelson.
Facial hair.
Hair. Right. The only outlier, the only real exception to that.
Yeah.
Vinny.
Clean-cut Italian boy.
Now, I just think he's just so absolutely freaking brilliant.
He doesn't have to have
the facial hair.
There is an exception to every rule.
Right.
And Vinny's that exception.
Right.
And I also think that Jamil and I's egos are far too large to hire smart people.
Exactly.
Sorry, JP.
Hire the challenged and infirm.
Makes us look good.
Yeah, exactly. That's all that.
JP,
that really
you're not
matters.
paid though, right?
Right.
He says he's paid one.
Facial hair.
One. He's got the facial hair, though.
Yep.
That must make him a better brewer. All right. Well, and one of the things that would make you a better brewer, I think, go to blickmanengineering.com. Check it out.
Yeah.
Our great sponsor, Blickman Engineering. They make some of the great creative ways, genius ways of making your brew day easier and better.
They drink more than you
JP
think.
likes to say, innovating your home brew.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a great slogan, actually. I think you ought to be using it.
That is good. You might have to pay JP for that.
So, go check it out. All sorts of new stuff. And thinking about that, John Palmer and I, we wanted to talk about some of the new stuff you're going to see here at the conference. And one of the things Blickman Engineering is always doing is bringing out this new great gear for the NHC. And this year, John, you've got the Tower of Power over there.
Yes,
and,
we're in full production.
In full production now. I mean, it was just kind of a a moist spot in your eye back in the day.
And it is. I mean, it looks really sharp. I mean, it's. I don't know. Do they use these things at NASA? I mean, it looks top. Just like it belongs on BBC Top Gear.
There's probably more computing power in that than put the man on the moon for the first time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't even know what it is. I know that it looks amazing.
Describe it
It
to
has
us.
a perfect name, but I don't know what it is.
Tell us the functionality. How it is going to help the home brewer make better beer.
Yes.
Or make their brew day better. Or
Well, the first thing with a product is you got to have a cool name, or you can't come out with a product.
Right.
So we had the Tower of Power.
Did the name come when you were watching like some porn movies or something?
Yeah. He was like, I'm going to name my next product after that move.
Yeah, that looks good. It was in between Money Shot and Tower of Power. No, I'm sorry. No, it's a great
for
name.
something a little more subtle.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing when I first started the project, I'd actually done an electric system for just my own personal gadgetry fiddling, but I noticed that there just wasn't one that did a gas that was a gas-fired unit that would adapt to anybody's system. And we really try to make things that are modular, that work for other people's systems, because we know that most brewers, when they're starting off, it's not just gee, I think I'd like to brew beer, I'm going to go out and spend $5,000 on equipment. It's a journey that you take and you're developing this equipment. So we try to develop products that will adapt to a lot of your existing equipment. So the other thing that we wanted was something that would just had really high accuracy. So we went with a really high accuracy meter and a Class A RTDs that are very stable, the highest available before you get into a laboratory grade. So, we've really got accuracy that you can use to calibrate your other instruments with in your brewery.
Well, I've noticed if you buy like a Johnson controller or a Ranco or something like that and you use them, you'll find quite a variation between the same product. One will fluctuate 2 degrees when you set it for 1 degree.
Yeah.
One will fluctuate, half a degree. It's fine enough for most homebrew, but it's not a precision instrument. And
right.
When we were brewing in Tahoe with the winter, that I was impressed with how precise that thing was.
Yeah, a lot of the when you engineer a complete system, you got to not only use an accurate sensor, but you need to use an accurate meter. And the refrigeration controls like Johnson, Ranco, and the Love controls, they're really designed for low cost. They'll use a thermistor, which they're a short temperature range, but they're actually they've got a very high gain, so they can be very, very accurate. But their main feature is they're very low cost. And they match them up with a very low-cost electronic system, usually 8-bit analog to digital converter. So you really can't get all the accuracy that the sensor will produce. The other thing with the thermistors are very, very nonlinear. So when we went out to make our selections on the sensor and the controller, we went with a RTD. They're very linear, very stable. There's no drift. Thermocouples, you can get thermal drift over a period of an hour when they're just starting to warm up. And then we also went with a higher quality metering system that had at least a 12-bit analog to digital converter, so you can actually get the accuracy that the instrument is capable of producing. They'll all read to a tenth of a degree, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's accurate in what it's giving you.
Now, how does the Tower of Power change your brew day? How is it? I buy a Tower of Power, I hook it up to my equipment, and how does that change my brew day?
One of the big things it's going to give you is the consistency and the repeatability, and you're not going to be distracted through your brew day of trying to add heat and stirring and worrying about that temperature. You can focus on the finer aspects of brewing to really bring out the most in your beer. So
drinking.
Let the instrument do the mundane maintaining a temperature. What I really like about it, in addition to that, is we've got a free download for the control software, and then there's just a cable that we sell for $25 or something like that converts the instrument protocol to a USB. You can plug it in your laptop, and you can program it with an unlimited amount of ramp soak mash profiles.
Nice.
And you just put it in automatic mode. The burner's got plenty of capability to ramp at the rates you need. And so when I'm actually mashing, I'm cleaning fermenters, getting kegs ready for when the beer's done.
Well, it's either maintaining temperature or ramping temperature.
Yeah, drinking beer, yelling at the kids, all that stuff. That we do.
Grilling brats on the Blickman grill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, taking a nap. The grillinator.
The grillinator, yeah. Well, and that's one of the things I've always been a proponent of. I've said, automating parts of the process helps you with your repeatability, and consistency helps you dial in your recipes, dial in your process. If you have parts of your process that are wildly going one way or another, every time you brew your beer, then you don't know if the changes that you're doing to try and improve things are because something happened randomly that, you weren't expecting, or your change made sense. And, all those parts of the mash and that process, by having it more consistent, by automating it, you take some of the human element out of it. I mean, you're still deciding all these things, you're still watching it, but if you were tired from pro night last night, you'd be okay. Everything still goes the same. You're not lazy in watching things, and that's one of the biggest things that I found on automation. So I really I think it has a great value.
I really like brewing with it because especially when you're starting out the brew day, you can set the temperatures. Get your strike water temp going in the mash tun, heat up your HLT, just turn them on, let them go. As you say, cleaning fermenters, doing other things. Water's heating up, and when it gets to temperature, it holds there.
Right.
So I can do whatever I need to do, and then when I'm ready, just walk over and start mashing because everything's where I need it to be. I didn't have to watch it.
Right. I mean, how many people have overheated their sparge water?
Right. Yeah.
Then you're running, getting ice,
Every
or waiting for it to
time.
cool off. Yeah.
Every single time.
You could argue that it's a little overkill to have that level of control on your hot liquor tank, but it sure is nice to just hit it and not have to pay attention to it, and you can focus on other things.
Well, and for me, it's all about being able to repeat my process so I can change other things and not have to worry that the mash was a little bit off. So how do I know that my attenuation change is from that, or from the different yeast I'm using, or the starter I made, or the temperature control, or whatever other changes I've been trying to make in my process. So it can be real frustrating.
John, I have a request for a future feature of the Tower of Power.
All right.
I just saw one of our other great sponsors, Brad Smith, who makes the Beersmith software, which is awesome software. And you're saying that you can kind of plug in your Tower of Power to your computer. I'd love to see a way for the Tower of Power to work directly with brewing software. So, because I'm writing all that stuff out anyway, right? I'm punching in my mash schedule once, so maybe not to have to do it again. If it could interact with brewing software automatically, I open up my brew sheet, and when I'm ready to go, the Tower of Power is somehow able to read from my brewing software.
Well, I will have to pop on over and talk to Mr. Smith about that.
See if we can do that. That, and if it comes with hot chicks to add hops. Those are my two requests for the Tower of Power, please.
That's coming this fall.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up with Mr. Blickman, and then we've got Chris Whitey from White Labs come by to talk about the yeast they captured from John Mayer's beard at Rogue. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be fun right after this.
From the stovetop to a camp burner to some kind of brew stand, most homebrewers follow some version of this progression. With each move, a homebrewer will often have to change a lot, if not all, of their equipment. Until now, Blickman Engineering brings you the top-tier brewing stand, the only brewing stand that grows with you. For example, buy a top-tier floor-standing burner now, and it'll bolt right to your top-tier brewing stand when you're ready for all-grain brewing. The top-tier brewing stand is perfect for 5-gallon to 20-gallon batch sizes. Its modular design is adjustable and accommodates everything from small footprint coolers up to 30-gallon pots. How does the top-tier brewing stand do it? At its core is a strong, heat-treated and anodized aluminum main post. On all four sides are built-in T-slots for the adjustable heavy-gauge stainless steel shelves and beefy burner tiers. The tiers accommodate any manufacturer's pots or coolers up to 21 inches in diameter. Best of all, not only does the top-tier brewing stand grow with your skills and equipment, but it easily knocks down for long-term storage or transport, too. The top-tier brewing stand from Blickman Engineering. Learn more at blickmanengineering.com and to find a local Blickman retailer. And start brewing from the top tier.
7 short minutes off California State Route 101. There lies a secret oasis for all craft beer lovers.
It's Relax Grillin' and Chillin', bro!
Relax Grillin' and Chillin' in Hollister, California is a craft beer lover's dream come true.
Not like a creepy JP dream, like a normal craft beer lover's dream.
30 taps pouring your favorite craft beer. Visit Relax Grillin' and Chillin' on Facebook to see the most up-to-date beers and what's on the grill.
And let us grill so you can chill.
Angus burgers, filet mignon and ribeye steaks, dogs and sandwiches, and more. Great food, great beer in a place where you can kick back and relax. Tuesdays are brewery nights. Come in to celebrate, and you're not limited to enjoying your favorite brew at the restaurant. Relax Grillin' and Chillin' has beer to go. Relax Grillin' and Chillin'. Let them grill so you can chill.
Are you a member of the American Homebrewers Association? Well, you should be. Members of the AHA can focus on brewing beer, and the AHA takes care of the rest. The American Homebrewers Association advocates on behalf of homebrewers like you to legalize the hobby in all 50 states and make sure that beer laws make sense. Plus, there are many great benefits that come with your AHA membership, like pub discounts that give you awesome deals at bars, restaurants, breweries, and more. Zymergy Magazine and eZymergy for tons of articles, how-tos, easy-to-follow recipes, and news about the hobby you love. And access to the members-only content on homebrewersassociation.org. But the AHA can't do it without your support. Join today so the American Homebrewers Association can keep fighting for your home brewing rights. Visit homebrewersassociation.org or join right now from the homepage of the Brewing Network website. Relax. Don't worry. It's the American Homebrewers Association.
Back to the two guys that know how to turn beer into beer. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're sitting here live with John Blickman at the NHC 2012. We were talking about the Tower of Power. So, explain to me real quick how this Tower of Power, if I've got a top-tier system, one of the things I like about it is modularity. Now, this will plug right into any top-tier
It'll not only plug
system?
into any top-tier system, but it'll plug into virtually any burner system that's out there. So if you've got, like a Brutus 10-like system, or you're just brewing on milk crates or whatever, it'll plug in there. And that's something that we wanted to offer, something that's modular. And you can control your mash tun, you can control your hot liquor tank, or both. And if you've already got your plumbing system, then you're happy with it. It'll just marry right up and work with that system. If you want to integrate it with our tower, and it's got some pretty neat features, you can add that to it. And you don't have to do it all at once. You can just do it by chunks at a time that you can sneak by the wife.
Wow.
Or the husband.
Yeah.
So, one of those features that I really like in it, and I think John has picked up on too, is the flow meter. There's not any systems out there that I've really seen that are in production that have a flow meter. And as far as that consistency goes, knowing what your recirculation rate, I think, is important, mostly because you'll know based on your system how fast you can recirculate without sticking your mash. And that will allow you to really dial that in. So it's a flow meter that actually it's a visual flow meter. You can actually see your wort clarify too as you're recirculating, and you can set your flow rate. And we also have a low flow alarm. So say your recirculation rate's 1.5 gallons a minute, you could set your alarm point at 1 gallon a minute. So if you're doing other things and all of a sudden your mash starts sticking for some reason, it'll set an alarm off and let you know that something's going awry with your mash, and you can get in there and correct that before you got a stuck mash.
Excellent. Yeah, it's just amazing that the stuff you guys have come up with and what you thought of to integrate into this thing. I was really blown away when I saw it in Tahoe.
Yeah, I use that as an excuse to set up my computer in the evenings while my wife's taking care of the kids. I'm just working, dear. I got this important thing to work on.
Well, on the internet. I'm working on the internet. Yeah.
And pro brewers kind of make fun of us now in the sense that they're like, you guys aren't even home brewing anymore. That's as a professional setup as I have in my brewery in the pro setup. They kind of say, when I was a home brewer, we didn't have any of this stuff. So it is pretty high tech, man.
Well, and it just depends on what you consider to get out of the hobby and what you really want to learn and what you want to do. And the fact that it integrates into any existing equipment there can control just about any burner. That's spectacular because that means your investment isn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
Yep.
Great.
Well done, John Blickman.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. And if all you folks, if you get a chance and you want to go over Blickman Engineers in the kitty corner over there, and they've got the tower power there and the top tier and a bunch of really very brilliant guys that can talk about it endlessly.
You can't miss it. It's the booth that looks like the future.
Right.
It's amazing.
Got lots of steel and lots of stainless steel.
It's a time machine.
We're all about ridiculous.
And guys with pocket protectors. Enough said.
Right. And you can win a top-tier stand there. All the proceeds go to a local food bank here. So stop on by, $5 a ticket or $5 for $20.
Nice.
And 100% of the proceeds go to a local food bank. So
cool.
So you can contribute and possibly get yourself a really slick top-tier stand.
Beautiful. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So next up, we got Chris White. One of the things that I had heard about was this thing where they were saying that they had been working with Rogue, or somebody said the Rogue was working with White Labs, or vice versa. I saw the news clip, and they had been working on trying to find a native yeast on their hop binds. They had sent hops and sent hops and sent hops, and White Labs kept going through these trying to find yeast. Couldn't come up with anything, and then just kind of on a whim, they cut a few strands of John Meyer's beard hair, a beard he has grown continuously and never cuts, and they took some strands out of that, sent that down to White Labs. And then apparently White Labs was able to find a yeast in there, and it was not the Rogue Pac-Man yeast at all. This was a new yeast. And so all of a sudden they've got this yeast. Is this true, Chris? I mean, a lot of people say, no, that's just a made-up story. That's internet lore. I'm like, no. I think this is true.
Yeah, this really happened.
Really?
It really happened. And it went pretty much like that. Neva Parker and I were invited to Rogue last year to look at some of the things. John Mayer was, it's time to, he's thinking about, or they're thinking about what's going to be after John Mayer. Mm-hmm. He's been brewing there for so long. So the idea wasn't to go look at his beard. It was to go look at the whole process and look at the brewery and see what other things they might want to do to incorporate into their brewery. So we went to Newport, Oregon, and then we got talking about isolating yeast and a lot of the custom selections we do on yeast. And they said, well, let's get something native from Rogue. Let's get something from Newport. Again, it wasn't beard. It was, is there a native yeast here that it could be a Newport strain? We said, there probably is. So we went back to San Diego, and they started plating around the brewery. And they had a few extra plates, so they said, well, let's just swab and take some strands of hair from John Mayer's beard just for fun. Because these plates were left over. Right. And that's the plates that we got the Saccharomyces cerevisiae from.
Wow. Very cool.
So,
but I'll tell you, if you had gotten yeast from anything else out in Newport, it would have been, that's nice.
Right.
Yeah,
salty strain.
Yeah, great. Yeah, cool. Maybe I'll try it. But that you would get this from John himself is incredible. Yeah. It's like, I can't imagine anyone that wouldn't give this a try.
Right.
I've got to get my hands on some of this yeast. I've got to give this a try. I think all you folks out there, if you know Rogue at all, if you know John, and what a great guy he is, you're going to want to get your hands on this yeast. You're going to want to try it. Now, unfortunately, I think it's not your yeast to sell. Is that correct?
No, that's right. I mean, the whole thing was confidential. So we do this work with a lot of people. So when the story came out a couple of weeks ago, people started asking me about it, and they said, well, why didn't you tell me? Friends of mine, why didn't you tell me about this? This is really cool. I said, well, it's confidential. We don't tell any of the testing that we do and the selections that we do. And when I first saw the story, I thought, oh, cool, they wrote about it, but I didn't expect to see White Labs in the story. Mm-hmm. And so, in the second paragraph or so, they mentioned us, so now we can talk about it. But when we do these kind of work for breweries, they own the strains. I mean, that's how we do the agreement. So if they wanted us or they allowed us to sell it, we could, but we wouldn't just do that. We did this isolation for them. They paid for it, so it's their strain.
So you haven't yet started to create a vial that's shaped like John Mayer's head. Yeah, you're waiting for the
that's creative.
What we need is a platinum strain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, maybe a Yeast Man character with John Mayer's beard on it.
Yes.
I can see that on the label.
There it is. No, I think we this has to happen. What do you guys think out there? Would this be a yeast that you guys would want to try? Absolutely.
Nobody's creeped out at all?
No, it's pure yeast. The way that they isolate the yeast, they go to single cells and grow it up. There's nothing else growing in there.
Right.
It's only pure yeast.
Yeah.
That's pure made.
I'm looking at John right now, and I'm not so sure there's nothing else growing in there.
Well, right. I'm sure they had to do a lot of isolating.
Yeah. I don't think it looked that good when we did the isolation.
Now,
he's cleaned up his beard since then.
Yeah.
I do have a question about that, Whitey. Are you surprised to find a viable brewing yeast in a place like that? I honestly mean that.
Oh, yeah. That was the really shocking part of it, because we do this a lot, and we find some different yeast strains. And if you do find a yeast strain, even if it's a Saccharomyces, it's usually fairly phenolic, because most yeast produce phenol compounds. So we expected to find something that would be more like a Belgian strain when we did find something, or when we find things in these natural isolations, even for the wine industry too, we do them. You find something that's phenolic. Mm-hmm. So you could use it for a Belgian style strain. You could use it as maybe they could have made a beer and added this yeast in just for a little flavor development. We didn't expect to find a yeast that ferments all the maltose sugars, is clean, is phenolic negative. Wow. And that's what we found, and that's why I was so excited.
Now, did you brew a little test batch and give it a taste?
Yeah, we brewed some small batches.
And what's the character of the yeast?
It's pretty clean. It's
quiet.
Humble.
Yeah, it's very humble.
Yeah.
Makes excellent beer.
Now, Chris, what do you suppose the odds are that this yeast cell that you harvested came from a bottle of Sierra Nevada that John was drinking?
It's possible. Right. It could have come from something else he drank that night before. It could have come. It could have hybridized with something else in the brewery.
Now, if I was to come up with some samples of pubic hair, and you were able to isolate yeast, would anybody buy that? Is that something you'd brew with? No, not a single soul.
Wow.
All right. Well,
even your friends are shaking their head.
Yeah. All right. Fine. It's just a thought.
Right.
Just a thought.
All heretic beer is safe, everybody.
I think I would have to grow a beard at that moment.
You have to do a beard.
Yeah. Oh, we can check out Beardy. I bet you he got a whole forest growing in there.
Yeah. Animals and yeast.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, you'd probably have to keep a spatula to stab anything that started crawling out of the plate there. So.
Well, I mean, it's kind of similar to thinking about these wine isolations we do. When we're looking for yeast in vineyards, it's kind of similar to what we did with John Mayer's beard. We go into the native environment, the vineyard, and we look for yeast, and sometimes we find some great phenolic negative yeast
strains. Go tromping around.
Yeah.
This has to be one of the most interesting stories in yeast that has ever come out. Is to find John Mayer beard yeast. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to repeat that one.
Well, I do hope that they allow you to produce this yeast.
Come on, folks. Platinum strain. Can I hear it for the platinum strain from John's beard yeast? Come on.
Something that you could buy.
I would love to brew with that. I would just be thrilled to give that a try.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you got anything else new on the horizon? You got the tasting room open at White Labs, and
we got the tasting room. We opened the tasting room officially last Friday.
Oh,
but
that's
it's been
what
open
I wanted
for a
to
couple
talk
of months,
about.
Yes,
I noticed in the kit or the bag that they give you, you guys are now doing testing for homebrewers.
Yep. So this is something we've talked about for a long time because we do analysis for commercial breweries. We do some of our own analysis. We do Siebel analysis. And so beers are always coming in for analysis, but wouldn't it be great if we could do some analysis on homebrew?
Right.
But it's always a question of price and how do you do it. And so we wanted something that would be in the stores. So we came up with this box idea that could sell in a store. That's basically the delivery system for the beer back to White Labs. So this includes the shipping back to White Labs, and it includes the alcohol test. And then you can go, when you register this, before you send it back, you can add up all sorts of other tests.
Right.
So you can send a beer back in the same package for diacetyl, color, IBU, calories. There's a whole list of things to choose from, plus, and then the alcohol is already included.
Wow.
And by doing the alcohol, this is also something winemakers can use and do malic acid and SO2 and other things, and alcohol. So we've tried to create something that could be both from, selling both markets.
So this is like your big QC day that you've been doing for a few years, but now it's more accessible and available year-round.
Well, and,
exactly. Big QC day is around $150, which is still a good price for two tests that 2 beers, and it tests almost everything a brewer wants to know about the beers.
We've been using that at Heretic. We've been having White Labs test the beers, and it's absolutely phenomenal data on your beer.
And, $150 is cheap for those tests, but it's still kind of expensive for a 5-gallon batch of beer.
Yeah.
So we wanted to use that idea from Big QC Day to come up with something different. So this is it starts at $30, and then you can add those other tests. And again, including that shipping back to White Labs, and using that same kind of systems and stuff we developed for Big QC Day, where it's all on our website, yeastman.com, so you can see your results there. It's tracked through our lab using yeastman.com, all by the barcode that you register in the beginning. Right. So a lot of things we've done over the years with Big QC Day is transformed into this little homebrew test kit.
Well, I've always believed if you really want to perfect what you're doing, if you really want to master the craft of brewing, you need data. You need to, you need to be able to repeat things. You need to be able to understand, the changes that you're doing, what effect they have. You need to, see how clean your process is. And we can send in beer and they can tell us that, nope, there's no bacteria in there. No, there's no wild yeast in there. They can, they can tell us exactly how many IBUs it is. All this data is really helpful when you're trying to, perfect your craft. I get a lot of people, they're like, I don't really care what the cost is. I want to become the best brewer that I can be. And I think this is actually quite a great service. I'm really pleased to see that available in an easy-to-access way.
Yeah, you could add you can add plating for purity, so we can do wild yeast and bacteria. We didn't call the kit that because people always say they want to know how much wild yeast and bacteria are in their beers, but we find when it comes down to it, people don't really want to test for it.
Well,
so it's an add-on.
My beer is clean. I get people telling me this all the time. They go like, "Oh no, it can't be souring from bacteria. I'm perfect." It's like, look, just send it in.
Right.
Then you'll get some humility and you'll realize that maybe your process isn't perfect.
And then everything else we calculate for a value is all an estimate. I mean, alcohol is an estimate of your from your final gravity to your ending gravity, but not all of that carbohydrate goes to alcohol. So the real number is different. So we can measure a real number by actually measuring the ethanol in the beer. IBUs are calculation, and sometimes they're very off, especially if you get into the high IBU range.
Oh, way off.
So and that's one thing a lot of commercial breweries do with us, do the IBU analysis, so they want to put it on their bottle, and they want something that's accurate, not just an estimate off of calculation. So, and the number sometimes surprises them.
And there's brewers on both sides of that spectrum who would prefer to be able to keep saying it has 4,000 IBUs than to know the actual number. So that's interesting.
Now, I pulled a sample and sent it in. It came back 101 IBU.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I don't subscribe to the theory. I mean, that 100 IBU is a ceiling. I think it's when I get really suspicious when something gets just said a lot. 100 IBUs, you can't have more than 100 IBUs. Well, why?
Right.
I mean,
I think it's possible to go higher than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The yeast tends to pull a lot of it out, but
it's different by different yeast strains, and it is hard to get over 100, but it's also hard to measure over 100. So we might just be having problems of measuring IBUs, and because the methods are really built around 10 to 20 IBU beers, and now we're trying to stretch these methods to 100 IBU beers. So if an analysis comes back at 95, and then you double hops again, and it's still 95, is it a factor of that measurement, or is it a factor of the solubility and other things about the actual hops in the beer? And I don't think this still needs to be determined.
Jamil, was it Evil Cousin? that you sent in?
Right.
So Evil Cousin is officially a 101 IBU
First
beer.
batch of Cousin, it was 101.
Wow.
Yeah.
This one goes to 101.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's one more than 100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, does that... Have you seen it often, Chris White, over 100 IBU beers?
We've the highest we've measured is around 150.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
a
impressive.
McKellar beer, yeah.
A McKellar, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it tasted, yeah, exactly. It tasted about 1,000.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
All right.
cool. Can we give that one away? Is that a full box? Is it a real test kit?
Well, I think so, yeah.
I think we should give it away. Kenzie's telling you okay.
Let's do it.
Kenzie over there, he's new with White Labs this year.
Yes.
He's a good dude. You might have met him at the BN, any of the BN events or at CBC. He was around there, but he's a new White Labs guy. He's a nice dude. Don't be afraid of him. And he just gave the okay to give away a free test kit. So I don't know how we should do it. Want to play Guess JP's number real quick? Guess JP. All right, have you picked a number, JP? Between 1 and, just let's make it easy, between 1 and 10. Pick your number. All right, come up to the microphone if you want to try to win and tell us JP's number. Any of you, we don't care. Go ahead. 8. Was it 8, JP? It was not 8. Go ahead.
7.
Was it 7? It was not 7. Come on up if you want a free White Labs test kit. 3. Was it 3? It was not 3.
5.
5. I love this game. Go ahead.
2.
You're such a liar, JP.
1,046,000.
Is that it? Between 1 and 10. Come on up, Michigan State.
4.
4!
Hey!
There we go.
I always said those guys from Michigan State were very smart. So, yeah, there you go. It just proves it. Winner of
there you go.
Alcohol test kit. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris White, and thanks for all the support, man. I know that we're going to be giving away some more White Lab stuff tonight from Club Night. If you come to the center booth where the Brewing Network and More Beer will be, White Labs has given me some stuff to give away there. So come on by there, and we'll give you some more.
I think that's news to Chris. I think it's like, what?
Yeah, I don't even go to Chris
What are my people
anymore.
giving my stuff away?
Let's go to everybody
Do we do
else.
commercials?
Mike White really runs the show over
Yes.
there. Nobody knows that, but he runs the show.
A very tight financial ship he runs.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's a solid numbers mind.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I'm really excited about the yeast, and I think this testing is a great thing. So, great stuff for homebrewers. And so, let me know when the platinum strain of beer
Hopefully, we'll
yeast is
try
out.
to do that for 2013.
Love it.
I'll make sure to let
We'll
me
try.
know.
John's beard.
Cool. Thanks. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking with Brees about a couple new malt products they have. Stay tuned right after this.
Hey, guys and girls, it's Justin here reminding you that for a limited time only, you can get all your adult needs satisfied and help out the BN by going to adamandeve.com. When you do it and you use coupon code JAMIL, Jamil, you'll get to pick 3 free DVDs from genres such as amateur Asian, big breast, big butts, chunky co-eds, fetish, all the stuff that you're into that I don't even want to know about. But you can get it all there, plus toys and everything else at adamandeve.com by using coupon code JAMIL. You'll get to pick 3 free DVDs, plus 50% off just about any item in the store, and free shipping, and an extra gift. So cool, we can't even talk about it. They won't let us tell you. You just got to order. You got to find out what the extra gift is. So go over to adamandeve.com right now. Use coupon code JAMIL, Jamil, and help out the BN while helping yourself. Also, if you just can't wait till you get home, you can shop on their mobile site. Just go to adamandeve.com and you'll find it on your mobile phone or mobile device. Do it now.
By popular vote from the Northwest Brewing News, HopTech has been voted the best homebrew shop in Northern California. Serving homebrewers for nearly 30 years in Dublin, California, HopTech carries more than 40 different kinds of hops and more than 60 different grains. Malt extract, spices and sugars, hop oils and extracts. Open every day except Wednesday, or shop online anytime at hoptech.com or call 1-800-DRY-HOPS, 1-800-379-4677. With in-store classes almost every Saturday, huge selection, and a dedicated commitment to their customers, HopTech is one of the longest running and passionate homebrew stores, period. And now, by popular vote, the best homebrew shop in Northern California. And don't forget their 15% military discount. HopTech. Visit today at hoptech.com. When I order a beer, I want my server to know more about it than I do. I want someone who enjoys good beer and loves helping others enjoy it too. I want someone who knows how to pour a perfect pint for every beer style. I want a Cicerone.
The Cicerone Certification Program is creating the type of people who help you enjoy great beer. Home brewers and craft beer lovers know beer is more flavorful and complex than ever, and it takes some serious knowledge to store and serve beer right. Cicerones know beer. There are 3 levels in the Cicerone program: Certified Beer Server, Certified Cicerone, and Master Cicerone. Cicerones are truly the sommeliers of beer. The best beer locations have a certified Cicerone on staff. Relaxed and unpretentious. Cicerones are tested on storing and serving beer, beer styles, flavor and tasting, the brewing process and ingredients, and pairing food with beer. Learn more about your next beer guide at cicerone.org. Certified Cicerone, because it takes top talent to present a perfect pint.
What'd you get? More brewing ingredients?
Yep. You know what I love about Brewmaster's Warehouse?
The $6.99 shipping?
Well, yeah, but...
Oh, the in-store classes for beginning brewers.
Yeah, that's cool, but...
Oh, the Brew Builder. Creating and saving your recipes online is awesome!
No, yes, but...
The cheese-making supplies.
No.
Oh, the wine-making supplies. Oh, the distilling equipment and liquor flavorings.
All that stuff is awesome, yes, but what I really love is that the guy who runs it is totally hot. And that Brew Builder software is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Brewmaster's Warehouse brings you flat rate shipping on great equipment and ingredients to make beer, wine, cheese, and spirits at brewmasterswarehouse.com. And if you're in Georgia, stop by Brewmaster's Warehouse Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6. Visit brewmasterswarehouse.com today because it's totally hot.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Lance Armstrong of the beer world. Except for that nut thing. This is Brew Strong.
All right, we're back. We're live here at NHC 2012, and Palmer and I had just kind of gone around and we'd seen some interesting new products that we thought we'd bring up, and that's Blickman and Chris White from Wine Labs. And I was at CBC in San Diego this year, and one of the booths I always go by the Brees booth and look at different malts. They had some beers brewed with some new malts that they've come out with. And I thought, that's actually pretty fascinating. I mean, how often do you find new malts that are created in the marketplace? So I asked David from Brees to come by and tell us about, we've got the Black Prince, and we've got the Midnight Wheat, and a new Vienna.
Yes, that's the Gold Pills. So the CBC beers that you tried, I went down to San Diego and brewed one at Pizza Port, and we brewed another one over at Ballast Point at their 15-barrel system. And these are basically bitterless black malts. So the Midnight Wheat obviously being wheat, huskless, so you don't get a lot of the acrid bitterness like you see coming off of... just a typical black malt.
So excellent for people that want to do the black IPA. This is the kind of malt that they would use.
Up here in the Northwest, we say CDA.
Yeah, Cascadian Dark Ale, please.
Whatever it's called this week.
Yeah.
But it's 550L, and you use about 5% of the grist bill in an IPA, and it will darken it up without giving you a lot of those acrid
without
bitter
all
flavors.
The roasty notes.
So, I was able to brew at Pizza Port with this, and with the Black Prince, which is a hull-less barley. It's actually grown without a husk. We brought some down from Canada, and it's a little over 500L, and it's kind of the same theory where you get a lot of the color without a lot of that acrid bitterness you get off of, like a black patent type of malt.
Well, now, I tasted both of those beers that you brewed, and they were similar but different. Explain to me the flavor differences, and I don't remember which one was which, the flavor differences you could expect between why somebody would go with the Black Prince and why somebody would go with the Midnight Wheat.
Well, when you taste them dry, which surprisingly they're edible compared to like black malt tastes like charcoal. I think with the Midnight Wheat you get a little bit more of a sweetness to it, and you get a slight toastiness out of the off the barley, off the Black Prince. So I mean they're both really good for that sort of debittered kind of thing, for black IPAs or Schwartz beers, or if you wanted
or
to
Cascadian dark ales.
Yeah, if you wanted to darken up a saison or something of that nature to get the color without the flavor. They do have flavor. The first time I brewed with the Midnight Wheat, which was named by my good friend Matt down at Schooner Exact here in Seattle, we did a 10-barrel brew, and we used 7%, and it looked like motor oil. It was really dark, and it did have a little bit of roast character to it, which, as you're doing an IPA, it's very hard with the hops to overcome that. So I usually tell people, commercial and home brewers, that if you're going to do a black IPA and you've never done one, you kind of have to not use your typical IPA recipe and just darken it up because it doesn't work. You just about need to double your whirlpool and your dry hopping.
Interesting. Okay.
You need a lot of hops in there to really make it stand out. Because if you don't get the hoppy flavor or aroma, it's just a bitter black beer.
Even crystal malt kind of has an impact on the hop character as well. You have to tend to have to up your hops in that.
Absolutely.
Now, what about the Vienna?
This is something new that we challenged the malt house to produce. It's a 2-row. It's made with the Conrad variety, which is what we use to produce our Pilsen malt. So it's really bright barley coming out of the field, really good-looking product, and low protein. So what we're able to do with this for a Vienna style is it's slightly under-modified, so you get a little bit lower DP for conversion, but it's still plenty to use at 100% inclusion. And you get maltiness, but not so much the sweetness you might get off of like a pale ale malt.
Right.
And for CBC, Carl Strauss Brewing did a Oktoberfest style for me to trial this malt, and they were blown away by how much better it was than our regular Vienna. I mean, Vienna malt's not overly exciting to begin with. Nobody's going to be filling their silos with it, but for those fall, German-style beers, it's a really nice malt, and
it's
the beer
got
turned out really
delicious
nice.
flavor.
Oh, it tastes so good. I would use that in a second.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how the malt house churned this out for us.
Well, like he's saying, you could do a beer with 100% that malt. It'll convert.
It's wonderful. You should go to the booth. If you haven't tasted this malt, go to the booth and try it. It's a really unique flavor that it has.
Yeah, we just bagged it up. I know we got samples out to the distributor, so it won't be in any homebrew shops yet.
Okay.
But it's ready to ship in Chilton, and we're pretty excited about it. We got a small campaign for it because I think, especially coming up this fall, I mean, a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, that is a great, rich malty, but also very clean kind of malt character.
John's hungry now.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's really
need
good.
a spoon and a little bit of milk?
Yeah. It's 3.5 color. I think the DP is somewhere around 90. So, compared to a base malt being up around 140, it's less. But, as long as you pay attention and you're not a complete rookie, you'll get conversion with that, no problem.
And you guys have been doing a lot of new malts recently, the Cherrywood smoked malt and a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden,
I think
it seems like
the
it's all of a
smoked
sudden.
malt is almost gone over at the booth. Everybody's been coming by and munching on it because it's so good.
Right.
But yeah, I think when you look at the craft brewing segment and knowing that everybody, the hot brands for brewers to put out on the market, it's seasonal beers and mixed packs. So everybody's looking for the new flavor of the month. And so as brewers, myself included, you're always looking for a new color or flavor to paint with. Even though we have a roster of 60 different malts, we're challenging the malt house to come up with some new things. And Dave Kuski, as you know, he does a great job up there with his crew. And I just think it's fun for them, no different than a commercial brewery who's always just churning out the same mainline product to get to do seasonal beers and whatnot.
Excellent. Well, I think the winners are the home brewers and the craft brewers and the beer drinkers. So cheers to you. Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah,
Great
thanks for
stuff,
coming by.
David. Thanks for making that and bringing it out here. It's really good stuff.
Indeed. Thanks for having me along.
Cool.
Another great show from the Fantastic Brewing Network.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
We're going to do some shows live from Club Night tonight. We're going to do a little Brewers Feud. So if you want to come out and win some prizes, get your club together and play Brewers Feud. And I wanted to give a shout-out. I think they're still there. The Works of Wisdom have been pouring some of the beer we've been drinking tonight in the hospitality suite.
Excellent.
And JP got me a couple sour beers that were wonderful. So good job.
He said it was number one on the board there.
He did. He told me it was number one with his middle finger.
It was excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, I just... Yeah. Oh, it's 11. It was excellent. And if you enjoy listening to the shows, make sure to check out our sponsors, and check out our fine store in the BrewNetwork.com. Check that out. Books, shirts, glassware, all that stuff. You buy that stuff, it goes to the bottom line of the Brew Network. Really helps support the programming.
Yes.
And as does supporting our sponsors like Adam and Eve and Blickman, and so check all those out. Sign up for a Brew Your Own subscription.
Yep.
I write for them every month. Do a style profile column. When you sign up for Brew Your Own from the Brewing Network, half that money goes to the Brewing Network.
Half. I bought lunch for JP off of one of your subscriptions, I guarantee.
You get a great magazine, well worth it. And if you're going to renew your subscription, you can go do it through there as well. And really does a great thing for the Brewing Network. And I think you get a lot of great information. John writes for that every so often, and fantastic publication. Anyways, all in all, a very successful conference.
It's been fun. We got one more day, too.
All that's left is to drink hard tonight and vomit, and then get up in the morning and do it again. And then the drive home, the drive of shame. Till then, brew strong.
Brew strong, everybody.